business did commence at about 9:02 hours. Madam Speaker did make some announcements. Madam Speaker recognized the presence in the public gallery of visitors from Kafue Parliamentary Constituency in Kafue District. Madam Speaker also recognized the presence in the public gallery of students from Copperline University in Lusaka District. Madam Speaker also recognized the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from the following schools: Luanshya Central Secondary School in Luanshya District and Twalumba Education Center in Chongwe District. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcome the visitors to the National Assembly.
And more announcements followed. Madam Speaker informed the House that Wampa Green Life had been granted authority to conduct a one-day exhibition of fruits and trees with health benefits aimed at promoting healthy living and wellness. She stated that exhibition will take place on Wednesday, 29th April 2026 from 09 hours to 17 hours at the main reception area at Parliament buildings. And so in that regard, Madam Speaker encouraged the members to visit the exhibition and interact with the exhibitors, who would also be offering complimentary fruits and selected plants with health benefits to interested members.
And in the other announcement, Madam Speaker informed the House that management had authorized the National Assembly Football Club to launch a replica jersey and the 2026-2027 season customized infield playing kit on Friday, 24th April 2026 at 10 hours in the Amphitheatre Parliament buildings. Madam Speaker stated that at the same event, the club would launch the National Assembly Football Club Academy for children of both genders from 5 to 15 years, and that enrollment to the academy would be open to the members of the public upon payment of subscription. She added that the payment of subscription for members of Parliament and staff could be made by cash through a payroll recoveries. Madam Speaker further stated that the details for the sale of the replica jerseys and subscription to the Academy could be obtained from Mr. Julius Musumali, Chairperson, National Assembly Football Club, and Mr. Aubrey Chiwati, the Secretary, National Assembly Football Club.
And in the last announcement, Madam First Deputy Speaker did recognize the presence in the public gallery of members of the Zambia Federation of Disability Organization in Lusaka. So on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, she warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly. Thereafter, there was some Agent Matters Notice. Following Agent Matters Notice, Understanding Order 142, the first one did come from Mr. Mpundu on the allegations that the government of the Republic of Zambia stole and conducted an autopsy on the body of the late former president, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, and this particular agent matter without notice was inadmissible.
And the other matter was from Mr. Stephen Kampiongo, and the matter was on the remains of the late former president, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, and this matter was equally inadmissible. Thereafter, the House considered questions without notice during her honor the Vice President's question time, of which was followed by questions for oral answer numbers 328 to 331, Understanding Order 80.
Mr. Mute, who is the chairperson of the Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance, did move a motion urging the government, the House rather, to adopt the report of the Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance on the state of refugees and asylum seekers in Zambia for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 21st April 2026. Notice was taken at 11:01. That a quorum was not formed, and Madam First Deputy Speaker ordered the bells to be rung. The House counted, and the quorum having been formed, business resumed.
And we did see Mr. Mubika, who is Changombe Member of Parliament, move a motion urging that the House adopts the report of the Committee on Transport, Works and Supply on the ratification of protocols relating to the amendment of the Convention on International Civil Aviation, Article 3 by Article 50A and Article 56 for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on 22nd April 2026, and the House did adjourn accordingly at 11:43 hours. We now shift our attention to today's order paper. That's the business we expect the House to consider today.
We expect the House to consider 4 questions for oral answer understanding order number 80, 2 grouped questions, and of course there's going to be a motion that will be moved by Ms. Kasanda, and it's urging the House to adopt the reports of the Committee on Government Assurances for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 24th April 2026.
Yes, indeed. And on the orders of the day, we do expect the House to consider 3 bills at different stages. 2 bills will be considered at second reading stage, and 1 bill will be considered at committee stage. And these bills include the Closed Circuit Television Public Protection Bill, National Assembly Bill number 1 of 2025, the Water Supply and Sanitation Services Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026. These 2 bills will be considered at second reading stage, and the Tobacco Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 40 of 2026, will be considered at committee stage. And we get into the details of the questions for our answer.
Absolutely. So question 332 is expected to come from Mr. Siachi Sumo of Lufanyama constituency. Is going to ask the Minister of Health whether the government has any plans to construct a hospital in Mukutuma Chiefdom in Lufanyama district. If so, when the plans will be implemented, what the estimated cost of the project is, and if there are no such plans, why.
And thereafter, we do expect Mr. Menyani Zulu, Nyimba Member of Parliament, to ask question 333 to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. He wants to know whether the government has any plans to rehabilitate the following roads in Nyimba Parliamentary Constituency: T4 Nyalungwe Palace and surrounding areas, T4 Chambula Kalinginde Munyazi Tenof at T4, T4 Nyimba Central Ward Njalazi in Sima Ward, and T4 Chipanji Kalamatu and Kalamawan in Sanzala Parliamentary Constituency. In B, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and if in C, if so, if there are no such plans, why?
Mr. Kapyanga of Mpika will ask the Minister of Health when the government will install a theatre machine at Mkungule Mini Hospital in Pika Parliamentary Constituency. That's question 335. And in a short while, we should be seeing the Speaker's procession make its way into the chamber. And that will actually signify the start of business. And as we wait for that, we're looking at the questions that are expected to be considered on the floor of the House.
Yes, indeed, we do expect Ms. Jacqueline Sabauch, Kankata Member of Parliament, to ask question 334 to the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation. She wants to know in A, why the construction of Chasuta Dam in Chikankata Parliamentary Constituency has stalled. In B, when the works will resume, and in C, at what percentage of completion the project was as of February 26, and what cost of the outstanding works was as of February 2026. And just now we take you to the floor of the House. As you can see, Madam Speaker's procession making its way into the chamber. Keep watching Parliament Television.
Honorable members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
Tendency of Zambia, proud and free, land of wealth and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for our rights. We want freedom's fight, oh, one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by God's own hand. Let us all our people join as one, brothers and One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace in Zambia's sky, like an noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia, 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 green and we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the officers of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen.
Good afternoon, and thank you for still being with us on Parliament Television. Bells are ringing, which signifies that the quorum is not present yet. It is required that 1/3 of members of Parliament need to be present for business to be transacted on the floor of the House. So once a quorum is constituted, we do expect business of the House to commence. And so just before Madam Speaker's procession made its way into the chamber, we were giving you an update of the business that we expect the House to consider today. We also expect the House to consider grouped questions for oral answer under Standing Order 83. That's question 336 and question 337. Question 336 is coming from Ms. Jacqueline Sabal, Chikankata Member of Parliament, and the question is directed to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. She wants to know in A, when construction of Chikankata Police Station in Chikankata District will be completed. In B, at what percentage of the completion of the project was as of February 2026? What the cost of the outstanding works was as of February 2026, and what measures the government is taking to complete the project. And question 337 is expected to come from Mr. Menyani Zulu, Nyimba Member of Parliament, to ask the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development when the construction of Nyimba District Administration offices in Nyimba District will be completed, what the cause of the delay in completing the project is, at what percentage of completion the project was as of February 2026, what the cost of the outstanding works was as of February 2026, whether the government has any plans of engaging a new contractor, if so, when a new contractor will be engaged, if there are no such plans, why. So these are the two questions that will be considered under grouped questions for oral answer under Standing Order 83.
We expect Ms. Kasanda to move the motion urging the House to adopt the reports of the Committee on Government Assurances for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 24th April. 2026.
Honorable members who have login details, please can you log in so that we can start the business. We don't have a quorum, that's why the bell is ringing.
Is constituted. So as soon as that happens, business will resume. The House is expected to consider 3 government bills at second reading stage and committee stage. We expect the House to consider the Closed Circuit Television Public Protection Bill, National Assembly Bill number 1 of 2025 at second reading stage, the Water Supply and Sanitation Services Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2026 at second reading stage, and the bill that will be considered at committee stage is the Tobacco Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 40 of 2025.
It's done. All the honorable members, I have a number of announcements to make. The first one, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Preka's Tuition Center in Lusaka district. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome the visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. The next announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of adventurers and leaders from Namwala East Seventh-day Adventist Church in Namwala district. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome the visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. The next announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of visitors from the Tobacco Control Consortium of Zambia in Lusaka district. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome the visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. The next announcement, honorable members, I wish to inform the House that Pilatus Engineering Company Limited, the official dealers for BYD and Mazda motor vehicles in Zambia, has been granted authority to display their vehicles within Parliament precincts from the 29th to 30th April and 4th to 5th May 2026. The company is affiliated with the Public Safes Microfinance Company. Interested members of Parliament are encouraged to visit the exhibition area and take advantage of this facility. I thank you. The next announcement, honorable members, you will recall that on Wednesday, 15th April 2026, the Office of the Clerk distributed the draft National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2026 in order for you to read and appreciate the proposed amendments and take note of the concerns you may have on the proposed amendments. In this regard, I wish to inform you that the Office of the Clerk has organized a validation meeting for members on the draft National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2026. The meeting will be held on Thursday, 30th April 2026 in the Amphitheatre, Parliament Buildings, starting from 09 hours. The purpose of the meeting is to ensure that the Office of the Clerk receives feedback from members on the draft National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2026. Specifically, the meeting will seek to, 1, acquaint the honorable members with the salient provisions of the draft National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2026, and 2, provide an opportunity for members to clarify provisions of concern and validate the draft Standing Orders 2026. I therefore urge all honorable members to attend this important meeting. I thank you. Urgent matters without notice? I see none. Questions for oral answer under Standing Order 80. The Honorable Member for Lufanyama. The Honorable Member for Lufanyama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 332. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Mr. Siachisumo, Honorable Member of Parliament for Lufwanyama, asks the Minister of Health in 4 parts. A, whether the government has any plans to construct a hospital in Mukutuma Chiefdom in Lufwanyama district. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. C, what the estimated cost of the project is. And D, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, our response in A, the government has plans to construct a mini hospital in Mukutuma Chiefdom of Lufwanyama district, and I am pleased to report that a suitable site has already been identified in the chiefdom. B, Madam Speaker, the plans will be implemented within this year, 2026. In C, Madam Speaker, the estimated cost for the project is 1.5 million USD. And D, Madam Speaker, yes, the government has plans. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Lufwanyama.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Minister, for the answers which you have given. They are so satisfactory. We are so glad as members of Lufwanyama for the government of UPND, the way it's spreading the projects throughout the country. Honorable Minister, how many bed space is the main hospital going to have? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wouldn't have the specifications of how many bed spaces will be, but that will be determined at the time of procuring for that facility. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question, the Honorable Member for Nyimba. The Honorable Member for Nyimba is not in the House. Or is it? Honorable Member for Msanzala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 333.
So by prior arrangement, this question is being asked by the Honorable Member from Msanzala. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much, and I'd like to thank the Honorable colleague from Msanzala who asked the question on behalf of the Member of Parliament for Nyimba, whether the government has any plans to rehabilitate the following roads in Nyimba parliamentary constituency. 1, T4, Nyalugwe Palace and the surrounding areas. 2, T4, Chambola, Kalinginde, Manyazi turnoff at T4. 3, T4, Nyimba Central Ward, Njalazi in Msima Ward, and T4, Chimpanje, Kalama, and Kalama 2 and Kalama 1 in Msanzala parliamentary constituency. If so, when the plans will be implemented, and if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, in response, government has plans to rehabilitate all feeder roads that are in deplorable state, including the ones mentioned from Nyimba parliamentary constituency. In the meantime, Nyimba Town Council has been advised to immediately begin doing some light grading, some light grading on these roads with equipment already procured under the CDF in the short and medium term. The works will be undertaken using the fuel component under CDF and the road license fees allocation for 2026. Full-scale roadworks will commence when funds are available. Madam Speaker, plans are there, as mentioned in A. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Supplementary questions, the Honorable Member from Sanzala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Minister, for the answers. Maybe just a follow-up, Minister. Looking at maybe the roads that have been earmarked to be rehabilitated using the CDF component, that the money which is there is not enough, maybe to ask your office so that you can help the two constituencies so that some of those roads, if funds can be added for fuel, then those roads can be worked on quickly. Madam Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much, and I'd like to thank my friend and honorable colleague, Member of Parliament from Sanzala, for a follow-up question. Madam Speaker, even in my response, I indicated that the funds that are there, they can't do the actual works that are required to be done in those pieces of roads. But that is just a remedial measure as we await for some allocation. So definitely once we have enough resource envelope from the Minister of Finance, that will be taken care of. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Madam Speaker, a follow-up question to the Minister responsible for local government. Minister, most constituencies obviously have bought different pieces of equipment which can be utilized for grading some of these very, very important feeder roads. Unfortunately, Minister, depending on the scale of the problem, grading is not enough. You rip a road open, the next rain season, the same problem reappears. So we must reach a point where we begin building capacity for our councils to do the work that is done by institutions like Zambia National Service. I've seen that when you bring in ZNS, they do a much better job. So I want to find out from you, Minister, given the understanding that has been provided, when do we get to a stage when councils will be able to do feeder roads to the standard of ZNS or even a contractor? What are you doing to ensure that we get to that stage? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and I would like to thank my dear colleague, Member of Parliament for Kamfinsa for that follow-up question. Madam Speaker, not long ago, before the New Dawn government came into office, local authority had completely nothing. There was literally nothing that was happening because the resource envelope was not made available to them the way we have seen under the New Dawn administration. This, Madam Speaker, has led to a lot of local authorities acquiring yellow machine or earth-moving equipment. That is stage one. Now, since the earth-moving equipment have been procured, the other stage that is very, very important is also capacity build, like what the MP for Kamfinsa has indicated. I do recall, Madam Speaker, last week, even the member of Parliament, for Kantanshi, did ask a similar question to say we need to do capacity building in the local authorities so that they reach at Zambia National Service level in terms of carrying out works of great need, like working on deplorable state roads. So indeed, phase one, we have acquired equipment. Phase two, definitely we have to do the capacity building because the equipment is already there and resources are being given to local authorities. Taking into account, Madam Speaker, that the head of state did indicate that CDF has come to stay and the increment will be happening. So meaning definitely the capacity building in the local authorities is of great importance and that will be considered. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Nyimba, who is joining us virtually.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, thank you for the answers. And we appreciate the fuel component in CDF and the other money coming from RITSA. Minister, you also appreciate that Nyarugwe Lord, it's in a mountainous area where proper investment is needed to be, to put in. My question, Minister, to you is that recently you gave instruction that CDF should allocate about 10 million kwacha for solar plants. Are you in a position to state that maybe in the next CDF fund, your ministry should be able to direct local authorities where roads are bad like Nyimba, and maybe an amount of emergency money like 10 million, the way you did with the emergency, the instruction to allocate emergency money to solar plants. Are you in a position to tell if government can go that way? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. And I would like to thank the Honorable Member of Parliament for Nyimba for a follow-up question. Madam Speaker, indeed, the government came up with an initiative, which is a presidential constituency energy initiative to address the challenge that we had in 2024-2025, a season where we experienced drought. So the government thought it's important that we invest part of the CDF into these solar energy initiatives. Madam Speaker, looking at even when 10 million is deducted from the 40 million, still more there is a lot of money that remains for projects. There is good money. That means not say a lot, but good money to do the project. And also, Madam Speaker, when you look at Nyimba, the terrain of Nyimba and that of Sinazongo is just the same. Nothing stops, under decentralization, nothing stops Nyimba Council with the area member of Parliament and also the Ward Development Committees to say, fine, the major challenge that we have is road network. So this component for projects, let us address the road challenge that we have, because roads is also a project. It falls under project. So if Nyimba did that, it doesn't need central decision. It needs themselves, the people of Nyimba, to decide on what they feel they can use that CDF project component for. So it's up to them. If they want to take the 20 million or 17 million or 18 million towards addressing the major challenge, we have no quarrel. We have no question about that. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Chikankata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question 334.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Honorable Jacqueline Sabao, Member of Parliament for Chikankata, asks the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation a question in three parts. A, why the construction of Chisuta Dam in Chikankata constituency has stalled. B, when the works will resume. C, at what percentage of completion the project was as of February 2026. And D, what the cost of the outstanding works was as of the date at C. Madam Speaker, in response to the question asked by Honorable Sabao, I wish to inform this House that in A, works stalled after the contractor suspended construction works following severe flash floods that washed away more than half of the constructed embankment of the dam. Because of the severe wet conditions, construction works had to be suspended, and eventually the contract time frame elapsed. The contract has since been extended to August 2026. Madam Speaker, in B, works will resume once the contractor remobilizes to site at the end of May 2026. C, this House may wish to note that as of February 2026, the project had reached 38% completion. D, the contract sum, Madam Speaker, for this dam is 11.8 million, out of which 4.8 million has been paid. Therefore, as of February 2026, the cost of outstanding works stood at 7 million kwacha. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Chikankata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Minister, for a response. Minister, my question will be, you've already said that the contractor will be on site in August. However, the contractor left the site in 2024, and it's almost 1 year plus. What's been a challenge for the contractor to be on site for so long? I submit, Chair.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
I think, Madam Speaker, thank you very much for that very, very important question. Indeed, I indicated that there were challenges. This structure was washed away, and obviously somebody had to bear responsibility, and we were trying to sort out various legal challenges concerning this contractor. I'm glad to inform the Honorable Member of Parliament that all of these have since been sorted out, and the contractor should be on site next month. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. This is a constituency-based question. Honorable Member for Chikankata, do you have another question?
No, Madam Speaker.
Since the Honorable Member for Chikankata is satisfied, we make progress. Next question, the Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 335.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, once again. Madam Speaker, Mr. Kapianga, Honorable Member of Parliament from Pika, asked the Minister of Health when the government will install a theatre machine at Mukongole Mini Hospital in Pika Parliamentary Constituency. Madam Speaker, our answer is as follows. The current theatre equipment at Mukongole Mini Hospital in Impika Parliamentary Constituency is adequate for the level of care the facility is designed to provide. The design of the theatre within this facility was purpose-built for minor surgical procedures such as incision and drainage, suturing, and wound cleaning. Therefore, it does not possess the requisite infrastructure or amenities to safely conduct intermediate and major surgeries, including cesarean sections, amputations, and laparotomies. Attempting such procedures in its current form would pose serious risks to patient safety and care. Madam Speaker, the government acknowledges that the referral center is far and that there is clear need for major surgeries. Therefore, a purpose-built theatre with the appropriate human resource establishment must be constructed to meet this demand. In this regard, Madam Speaker, the government will not install additional theatre machine. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. And the Honorable Minister, thank you so much for that response. In your response, you've indicated that there is need to construct a theatre building and equip it with the relevant equipment as well as the personnel. When will that be done, Honorable Minister?
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. And Honorable Member, thank you for your question. And today you appear to be so calm. I was wondering whether he has also closed the floor or not. So, Madam Speaker, the construction of the purpose-built facility that will need major surgeries will be constructed as soon as funds are available, as we grow the economy, with the support of people from Mpika. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Oh, the Honorable Member for Mukushi South. I know you are rarely here, so please, when you come, ensure that you comply with the rules of the House. No talking loudly to people, honorable members that are coming in. Wow. The cameras are there to provide the evidence. But that is not what I wanted to say, but just to say, restrain yourself from debating while seated. The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Minister, I'm always very calm. Yeah. Madam Speaker, currently the mini hospital is operating without a doctor. And when I inquired, I was told that they could not station a doctor there because there was no theater where the doctor could be attending to some cases that are required to be attended to. And I was told that the reason is because there is no equipment in that theater. This is what necessitated the question in this case. So, Honorable Minister, with that, with your answer, may I find out when the doctor will be sent to Mkungule Mini Hospital to go and attend to the people in Mkungule Chiefdom? That's the only higher facility we have in terms of health facilities in that particular chiefdom. And it will be very important to have a doctor stationed there. But when I inquired, they said there was no equipment in the theater and the doctor could not be deployed to that particular facility. Madam Speaker, thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker and Honourable Member. Thank you once again. Just to correct the narrative, Madam Speaker, I said currently there is a theater, but it is not adequate for the level of care the facility is designed to provide. The current theater is only designed to undertake minor surgical procedures, and I stated such as incision, drainage, suturing, and wound cleaning. However, for the purpose of some of these procedures to be done, there is still need for a doctor to be stationed there, unless for complicated procedures that I have indicated, such as amputation, cesarean sections. So we will get back and find out from the provincial health director and the district health director as to why the doctor was redirected elsewhere or not provided for that facility. So, Honorable Member, we'll get back and we'll give you an update on that matter. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. There's an indication for a point of order. What's the point of order?
Madam Speaker, my point of order is on the House. I'm always in this House. If the House can check on the records, you will find that I always report for parliamentary business. Is the House in order to insinuate that I always am rarely in this House? I seek your serious guidance, Madam Speaker.
So, Honorable Member for Mukushi South, the presiding officer was the one making an observation that you are rarely in the House. You come log in and go. Friday you came, I don't even know if you were there. It's very easy to know when the honorable member from Mukush's house is in the house. So we don't even need cameras. We know that you are rare in the house. So we have a lot of work on the order paper. Let's get back to business, honorable member for Lunte. You want? Shocked about what?
Thank you so much. Madam Speaker, my honorable colleague has shocked me. Instead of just saying, unlike some members like Honorable Chavinga who never shows up, him at least he logs in. That is a complaint he should bring. Why should we start arguing with your proper guidance?
Honorable member for Lunte, can you have a point of order on a point of order? Why didn't you raise the point of order yourself? Can we get back to business? Order. Can we get back to business, honorable members? We have a lot of work to do. But it's a fact that the honorable member from Mukush's house is rare in the house. We are discussing about the honorable member from Mukushi, not any other member. Why do you want to bring other members who are not on the subject matter? There are so many other honorable members there and there, everywhere, who don't come. But he brought himself he put himself on the table of the house. That's why we are discussing. Can we make progress? Honorable member for Kamfisi.
Thank you once again, Madam Speaker. Minister, you've adequately dealt with the reason why a theater cannot be provided. The level of care, from your understanding, is already been provided. Have you done an assessment, Minister? Have your officers done an assessment, maybe based on the question from the area MP, that maybe we need a bigger theater? Because normally these health facilities, Madam Speaker, they are designed for a certain number of people, for a certain number of, for a specific population. With the passage of time, Minister, the population either grows, you have more people needing health care. So is the ministry considering doing an assessment in terms of the new need? Because clearly the MP would want you to build a bigger theater. I think that's his appeal, so that you can also place a permanent doctor at the facility. Madam Speaker, that is my follow-up question.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and Honorable Member, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, I indicated that government acknowledges that the referral center is far and that there is a clear need for major surgeries. Therefore, a purpose-built theater with the appropriate human resource establishment must be constructed to meet this demand. And in this regard, Madam Speaker, government will not install additional. So we are talking about that specific Mukungule mini hospital. We are saying it is not designed to carry out major operations. And for us to acknowledge that there is need for major surgeries to be undertaken, I have stated that the government will not at that facility, but the fact that we acknowledge it means an assessment has been done, and this is why we are saying there is need actually to have a purpose infrastructure built for major operations, and therefore the doctor will have to be assigned at that facility. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. We make progress. Grouped questions for oral answer, understanding order 83. The Honorable Member for Chikankata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question 336.
question number 336. I have permitted the Honorable Minister, Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, to respond to questions 336 and 337 as grouped questions. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and the Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. The Honourable Member of Parliament for Chikankata, Honourable Jacqueline Sabao, asks the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development when the construction of Chikankata Police Station in Chikankata District will be completed, at what percentage of completing the project was as of February 2026, what the cost of outstanding works was as of the date at B, and what measures the government is taking to complete the project. Madam Speaker, in response, the construction of Chikankata Police Station in the Chikankata District will be completed in the second quarter of 2027. As of February 2026, the project was at 85% towards completion. The value of the remaining works is estimated at 10 million kwacha. However, the actual cost required to complete the outstanding works will be ascertained once a new contractor is engaged. Government is scheduled to undertake the assessment of the outstanding works and the preparation of the bills of quantities in the second quarter of 2026. Additional information, Madam Speaker, the contract for construction of a police station and 10 staff houses was awarded to Lamusa Enterprises Limited in November 2014 at an initial cost of 14,095,256 kwacha, with a completion period of 12 months. The contract sum was revised to 15,722,726 kwacha 64 ngwe due to variations. The contractor was paid a total amount of 11,953,683 kwacha 76 ngwe in interim payment certificates. The scope of works included construction of police station, 2 medium-cost houses, and 8 low-cost houses, of course, with associated external works. The contract was extended several times, with the last being December 2023, after which the contract expired due to delayed payments. In 2020, the district administration offices of the 10 housing units to meet the urgent accommodation needs during the COVID-19 pandemic, of which the requests were granted. The outstanding works on the contract include internal fittings, plumbing and electrical installations, finishing works, and external works such as roads, drainage, and landscaping. The process of preparing bills of quantity for the outstanding work is underway, and the tendering process will be concluded by the third quarter of 2026. The unfinished police station is currently being used by the Zambia Police Service to avoid vandalism. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions, the Honorable Member for Chikankata. I don't know, Honorable Minister, did you answer the question 337?
I'm sorry, Madam Speaker. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. A Member of Parliament for Nyimba Parliamentary Constituency asked the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development when the construction of Nyimba District Administration offices in Nyimba District will be completed. what the cause of the delay in completing the project is, at what percentage of completing the project was as of February 2026, what the cost of the outstanding works was, whether the government has any plans of engaging a new contractor, if so, when a new contractor will be engaged, and if there are no such plans, why? In response, Madam Speaker, the construction of Nyimba District Administration offices in Nyimba District will be completed in the first quarter of 2027. The cause of delay in completing the projects is due to limited fiscal ability, which led to the government to prioritize projects that were 80% and above. As of February 2026, the project was at 50% towards completion. The cost of outstanding works will be known once a new contractor is procured. The government has plans to engage a new contractor. The new contractor will be engaged in the second quarter of 2027, and as stated in the E above, government has plans to engage a new contractor. Additional information, Madam Speaker, the contract for the construction of district administration offices in Nyimba District was awarded to Brat Engineering Limited at a cost of 5,927,409 kwacha 76 ngwe in July 2015. The scope of works included construction of the district administration block and its associated external works. The project commenced in September 2015, and a 20% advance payment was paid to the contractor. The contract was terminated in February 2023 due to non-performance by the contractor. At the time of termination of the contract, the project was at 50% completion, and the total cost of 2,163,777 kwacha was certified and paid to the contractor. The bills of quantity, Madam Speaker, for the outstanding works has been prepared and awaits retendering. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Nyimba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Minister, you agree with you, yes, the contract was awarded in 2015, and today, Madam Speaker, is 10 years down the line. Now, Minister, talking about the fiscal space, what message do you have for the good people of Nyimba to the reason why for the last 10 years or so, we have seen other projects being completed, which your ministry is doing well. What has been a problem just to complete the Nyimba administration block? Because, Madam Speaker, the workers at Nyimba town, Nyimba district are working like they are squatting in short. So what could have been the problem of not releasing the money? Because we are talking about 10 years period, Madam Speaker. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. And I'd like to thank my dear colleague for a follow-up question, and do really sympathize with the people of Nyimba for this delayed completion of this very, very important district administration block. Madam Speaker, the previous government, for lack of a better term, I can say maybe they were awarding contracts without matching resources. So these are the projects that maybe they were derived using a political approach and like a resource envelope approach. Because if you utilize the resource envelope approach, Madam Speaker, by now, this office block would have been completed. The Member of Parliament is very much aware that when we took office, we had to look at how to address the debt challenge that we had. Now that is a thing of the past, there's a window that works now will really move at a faster rate as soon as the tendering process is done. Otherwise, we sympathize with the people of Chikankata and also Nyimba for the delayed completion of these very, very important projects. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Musanzala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, you told the people of Nyimba that the contractor was given some amount which was advanced to him 10 years ago. What has happened to the money? And what is the government doing to recover the money from the contractor? Madam Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and I would like to thank my dear colleague for that follow-up question. Madam Speaker, what the ministry is doing basically is to look at the works that were done, look at how much those works do cost. Then if there is any difference which needs to be gotten back from the contractor, we have the bonds that the contractor has signed. So the government is not at a loss. Everything is in order. No money will be lost. Thank you so much.
The Honorable Member for Chikankata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Minister, for your response. Madam Speaker, I asked the same question in 2022, and the response was the first quarter of 2023, the project to be implemented. Minister, what has been a problem with this contract? I submit.
The Honorable Acting Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you so much, and I'd like to thank my dear sister for a follow-up question. Madam Speaker, there is nothing wrong with the contract. What has been wrong is the contractor who was, when the contract got expired, the preference was given to the same contractor, but when he was told to record, the costs that he had indicated in the contract were quite high, way above the estimates of the government. So that is the delayment that was made. The preference that was given to the very contractor, but the contracts were, the sums were quite huge. Therefore, the government has now opened a new approach where they want to do open tender to get a more viable contractor. Otherwise, there is nothing wrong with the contract. I know to say at some point in 2015 to 2020, actually there was no money to do the works. There was completely no money. It was not budgeted for by 2015 to 2020. So those are the delayments. Like I said, to the first question by Nyimba, it applies to the people of Chikankata, great people of Chikankata, to say there was just a political drive that never matched with the resource envelope. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We make progress. No more questions. Motion. The Honorable Member for Feira.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Government Assurances for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Monday, 27th April 2026.
Is the motion seconded?
Yes, Madam Speaker, the motion is seconded.
Seconded by the Honorable Member for Chifubu. The question is that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Government Assurances for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 24th April 2026. Any debate? The Honorable Member for Feira.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in line with its mandate, your committee considered a total of 67 new assurances and 106 67 outstanding assurances from previous sessions. In discharging the important responsibility, the committee received both written and oral submissions and engaged with various stakeholders across sectors. Madam Speaker, I believe honorable members have had the opportunity to study the report, and I will therefore only highlight a few key observations and recommendations that the committee has been able to make. Madam Speaker, the committee notes with satisfaction that a number of assurances made on the floor of this House have been successfully implemented. Madam Speaker, these achievements demonstrate that when commitments are matched with resources and political will, delivery is possible. However, Madam Speaker, the committee is deeply concerned by the persistent failure to implement a significant number of assurances, and allow me to cite a few examples. On the 27th September 2024, during the budget presentation for 2025, the Minister of Health assured the House that 30 maternity annexes would be constructed using CDF. To date, Madam Speaker, we only have 3 that have been completed. Madam Speaker, this is not merely a statistical shortfall, it is a matter of life, dignity, and access to maternal health services for our people. The committee therefore urges government to mobilize adequate resources and expedite the completion of the remaining 27 facilities. Madam Speaker, the committee is also concerned that assurances that were made as far back as 2022 over the completion of Kapita and Ndeke local courts have not been completed. However, these projects have not been completed to date. The delay in completing these projects undermines access to justice and public confidence in our judicial institutions. The committee strongly urges government to prioritize and complete these facilities without further delay. Madam Speaker, more broadly, the committee finds the high number of unfulfilled assurances unacceptable. Some of these commitments date back over a decade. This situation risks eroding the credibility of the executive and the authority of this august House to provide effective oversight. Madam Speaker, the committee is particularly concerned about the continued practice of making assurances without clearly identified resources for their implementation. In this regard, the committee makes the following key recommendations. Firstly, the executive must prioritize the fulfillment of existing assurances before making new ones. Secondly, every assurance made on this floor of the House must be backed by clear, adequate, and ring-fenced resources. Thirdly, the quality and completeness of action taken reports must be improved to enable effective oversight. Madam Speaker, your committee remains resolute in its oversight role and will continue to track the implementation of all assurances until they are all fully delivered. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, the committee wishes to express its gratitude to you for your guidance and to the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly for the valuable support rendered during its deliberations. The committee also thanks all stakeholders who provided submissions which greatly enriched its work. And finally, we want to urge, Madam Speaker, the House to consider allocating more money to the Government Assurances Committee, for its role is very, very important. Madam Speaker, I beg to move, and I thank you.
Was that an addition? Does the seconder wish to speak now or later?
Now, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Chifubu.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I rise to sincerely thank you for according me the opportunity to second this important motion, ably moved by the Vice Chairperson of the Committee on Government Assurances. Madam Speaker, from the onset, I wish to express my unequivocal support for the motion, which seeks to highlight the promises made by the Vice President, honorable ministers on the floor of the House. Madam Speaker, in supporting the motion, I will accentuate few findings arising from the committee's extensive deliberations. Madam Speaker, The committee's findings clearly demonstrates that non-implementation of the assurances is not merely procedural concern for the committee, but a matter of significant economic consequence. It has a direct bearing on the national development, particularly in line with government policy direction and the 80th National Development Plan. Madam Speaker, the report has reviewed mixed picture, which some assurances have been fully implemented, others are nearing completion, and some have been partially implemented, and a number have remained outstanding. Madam Speaker, by way of illustration, I will highlight one assurance that is nearing completion. On Tuesday, 25th February 2025, the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security assured the House that the completion of Mununga Police Station in Chiengi District would be completed by the second quarter of 2025. The delay in completing the project was attributed to termination of the previous contract, and the time frame of 5 months was set for the completion of the outstanding works. Madam Speaker, the committee was consequently informed that the project is now expected to be completed in the first quarter of 2026, as at December 2025, the project had reached 90% completion to date. A total of 2.8 million 848 had been paid to the contractor against the contract sum of 5,532,49 ngwe, corresponding to the total value of the works executed. Madam Speaker, the committee is deeply concerned that the residents of Chiengi remain vulnerable to criminal activities due to the absence of this critical institution. It is a wish of the committee that the executive should find resources to complete this critical institution in the district to provide security. Madam Speaker, the committee further observes that several other assurances have remained outstanding for the extended period. These include the construction of the Rusemfwa River Bridge, connecting chiefdom of Shikabeta, Mbosha, in Rusemfwa parliamentary constituency, the installation of the border marks along Zambia boundaries with Democratic Republic of Congo and Angola, the construction of electricity power plant in Kabompo, declaration of Balose floodplain as a World Heritage Site in Western Province, construction of Chivale Boarding Secondary School in Chama North, among others. In this regard, Madam Speaker, the committee recommends that government should expedite the implementation of these outstanding assurances without further delay, particularly through mobilization of adequate resources. Madam Speaker, in keeping this spirit and extent of, in keeping this in line with the spirit and extent of Article 98 of the Constitution of Zambia and Amendment Act Number 2, 2016, which emphasizes the prudent and responsible use of public resources. The committee is equally guided by the Standing Order Number 204, Section 3 of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Order 2024, and remains committed to executing the oversight role diligently. Madam Speaker, with these few but important remarks, I wish to reiterate the full support of the motion and urge the Honorable House to adopt the report. I beg to move, Madam Speaker. I second the motion.
Thank you. Any further debate? Honorable members, please, can you turn down? I can hear what you are saying, honorable members, without mentioning your names. The honorable member for Chama North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for according me this opportunity for me to add our remarks on this very, very important report. And before I proceed, I want to take this opportunity to thank my friend, the mover of this motion, the Member of Parliament for Feira, and also my friend there, the Member of Parliament for Chifu. Madam Speaker, I totally agree with this report. This report is very, very important because it holds the executive accountable for the assurances they make on this floor of the House. And if these assurances have been made, our people expect action from the government. On page 127, Madam Speaker, the committee expresses very serious concerns over the delayed completion of the Chama Lundazi and Chama Matumbo roads. Madam Speaker, this project has been on the drawing board from 1964. I remember I was in grade 3 in 1976 when this project, the Chama Matumbo Road, started. But up to this time, we are still talking about the Chama Matumbo Road. The people of Chama cannot continue to live on broken promises. Successive governments have made the assurances on this floor of the House, Madam Speaker, but nothing has been done. For 47 years, 27 years of UNIP, the people of Chama were just given promissory notes that the Chama Matumbo Road was going to be completed. 20 years of MMD, it was the same, Madam Speaker, promises for 47 years, UNIP and the MMD. We have to give credit to the late President Michael Shirufya-Sata, the great son of the soil, that when he was elected in 2011, 2014, 2012, President Sata started the Chama Matumbo Road. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, this project has stalled only 65 kilometers, which has been mentioned in this report. This report has this 65 kilometers still outstanding. About 80 kilometers have been done to bituminous standards. And I went to Chama with the Minister of Infrastructure, RDA, as early as 2022, Madam Speaker. Up to this time, not even a single kilometer of bituminous standards has been done.
Point of order is raised. What's the point of order, Honorable Member Fonkana?
Madam Speaker, for a good number of times you've guided this House on maintaining decorum of the House. Particularly when a Member of Parliament is debating, there's need for members to observe, the etiquette of this House, to observe silence and listen to the submissions. Madam Speaker, the former Chairman General for Zanama, the Minister of Sports, honestly speaking, Madam Speaker, has been running comments through and through, and that now has become habitual. Is this Minister of Sport in order, Madam Speaker, to disturb the flow of the debate, disturb, the peace, and thereby, turning this House into literally a circus? Madam Speaker, I seek your indulgence.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member Fonkana, for raising that point of order. I was actually looking at the Honorable Minister and wondering, but maybe because of this ivory, he couldn't see that I was beckoning on to him to say, please, can you tone down? So the Honorable Minister was out of order for making running comment. It's interesting that the point of order came from the the kingmaker himself. That was on a lighter note. Thank you very much, Honorable Member from Kano. May the Honorable Member for Chama North continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for that protection. I think this is a house of decency, and we expect
Honorable Member for Chama North, just proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Don't usurp my powers.
Sorry,
Proceed.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I was saying that 65 kilometers, surely, for all these years, government has failed to complete that stretch. And meanwhile, RDA has been there for 3 years. But every rain season, the Chama Matumbo Road becomes impassable. When RDA has been on that on site for the past 3 years, they have done nothing. So I want to make an appeal to the Minister of Infrastructure that yes, we are saying that we don't have enough resources. But I feel that let's find the contractors to do some of these works so that RDA can merely supervise the works. Because if we are going to say RDA must do everything, these are the challenges we are having. You can't have 65 kilometers just doing a gravel road. 3 years, nothing has happened on that road. Every rain season, that road becomes impassable. Meanwhile, Madam Speaker, that is the most economical trade route because of its proximity to the port of Dar es Salaam. From Dar es Salaam up to Chipata via Kapirimposhi is 2,600 kilometers. But from Dar es Salaam to via Chama to Chipata is 1,600 kilometers. We are going to be saving 1,000 kilometers. We should even decongest the Great North Road. But this particular important road has been neglected for all these years from independence. So it is my appeal, and I agree with the committee that something must be done. And the minister was on this floor of the House that the award of contract and the award of contract to do the 65-kilometer road was going to be done in the fourth quarter of 2025. But now we are in the second quarter of 2026. Nothing has been done on that particular road. So the people of Chama are extremely disappointed. The people of Chama also deserves a fair share of the national cake. The Chama-Rundazi road is also a very, very important road. In the report, they are saying 120 kilometers was done graveling and grading. Yes, this is sport improvement. But after the rainy season, the road goes back to square one. If you go to Chama today, the Chama-Rundazi road is terrible. Vehicles can't pass there. So that's why I was saying that RDA must do something to find contractors instead of using RDA to be doing these roads, because they don't have the necessary equipment. So the people of Chama feel that something must be done. Shiwali Boarding Secondary School, Madam Speaker, that is a modern school, a state-of-art school, which was started in 2012. But up to this time, that school has not been completed. And I want to thank the Minister of Education that when I came in office, when I visited that school, the school was abandoned and the trees were overgrowing. The school, modern school, completely abandoned. I'm happy that there's been a lot of progress on Shiwali Boarding Secondary School, and my appeal is that the remaining works, especially water recreation, must be done as quickly as possible so that Shiwali Boarding School can be opened. With this abolishing of basic schools, Madam Speaker, it has created a big problem that our children now from Chisungawa, Ruangwa, they have to go to Isoka, they have to go to Chiwale Day, especially for the girl child. This is becoming very, very difficult for a girl child. So my appeal is that this school must be completed. Once Chiwale Boarding School is completed, we are going to ensure that these challenges our people have been facing is going to be minimized. In conclusion, I think in the report, Madam Speaker, the committee is talking about equitable distribution of CDF. Yes, I've always advocated that development has been lopsided. Most of the development has been done in urban areas than in rural areas in terms of infrastructure. So if you are going to give the same money to a Lusaka Central constituency, to the same money to Chama North constituency, we are being unfair. If you look at population, for example, skills development, loans and grants, you need to give more money to constituencies which has higher population. But these rural constituencies, we need infrastructure. We need roads. We need schools. Because we don't have private schools in rural areas. Our friends in Osaka, in Copperbelt, they have got private school where they can take their children to school. But as we don't have those facilities, so that's why my appeal is that the rural areas must be given more money in terms of infrastructure development so that we are able also to accelerate development in rural areas. So with these few remarks, Madam Speaker, I totally support this motion, but I want to appeal to the New Dawn government that they must complete the Chama Matumbo Road and Chama Rundazi Road. I've reached out to RDA, I've reached out to the minister, I've even reached out to the president over this project.
Honourable Member, your time is up. Thank you. So there is an indication by the Honourable Member for Bangweulu online. Let's give him an opportunity. The Honourable Member for Bangweulu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to make some observations on the committee report on government assurances, which I support in the manner they have couched it and the recommendations they have made. But Madam Speaker, I also want to express some disappointment on the part of the government. If you go to page 46, Madam Speaker, on paragraph 30/19. This matter of the road, maybe let me put it this way, Madam Speaker. You may recall not too long ago when I brought the issue of the same road being cut on 2 points. Through your office, an urgent matter was granted and the minister came to respond without giving any possible solution to the road. Now, if you go to page 46 of the report, Madam Speaker, we realize that this matter was first brought to the Parliament on 13th October 2018, where government committed themselves to do feasibility study, to come up with cost estimates, and also to do detailed engineering designs, of which after that, government committed itself to fund that important economic road. I can confirm, Madam Speaker, that the survey was completed in 2020. And from 2020, I've been frequenting to the minister's office, to RDA, even to the regional office in Mansa, just to get some assistance so that this road is being done. And then if you go to page 136, Madam Speaker, you also see government committed itself, okay? In 2024, that on Wednesday, 27th November, 2024, the Minister of Fisheries was responding on behalf of the Minister of Infrastructure, actually indicated that that road was supposed to be completed on 1st December 2024. And what is disappointing is their submission that the 66 kilometers of that road was done. And Madam Speaker, this is an abuse or abrogation of Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia, because the statement that the government submitted is misleading. It was just last month when I complained about the road being cut off. But in the report, as they submitted, they are informing the public that the road was actually done. Madam Speaker, truth be told, that road still remains in a deplorable state, which has continued to damage vehicles, to damage goods, and also, as a result of not working on that road, the travel time has been prolonged. Instead of spending less than an hour, people are now spending more than 2 hours to 3 hours just to cover the 66 kilometers. And also it's posing a danger to safety as people travel. And it has also triggered the high cost of doing business, because it is extremely expensive. Where people are supposed to pay 50 to 100 kwacha, they are now subjected to pay between 200 and 250 kwacha in transport costs. So, Madam Speaker, I don't know, maybe when the minister comes to respond, the responsible minister, the people of Bangweulu have suffered for the past 8 years. Okay, if you look at the first time when the issue was brought, it was in 2018 in October. From that time, nothing has been done. So I just want to call upon the minister in charge of the roads or infrastructure in particular to come to a head so that at least people can begin to move their service, begin to move their goods in real time. Also, that the cost of doing business in that particular area is shortened, because this is the area that, in fact, Madam Speaker, connects Lunga district to Zambia district. It also connects a part of Lavush Manda, and also connects part of Chitambo, of course, and what they are saying, they have put culverts and so on and so forth. As the previous speakers alluded to, RDA, as I'm speaking now, as things stand, everything being equal, they have no capacity to do roads. So the appeal of the people of Bangolulu to the government is to ensure that since the technical design was done, the cost estimates were made, the appeal is for government simply to procure, find a contractor who can come and do a proper job. But so far, RDA has failed to ensure that the road is worked on. That is my appeal, Madam Speaker, because we've suffered for the past more than 8 years talking about the same road year in, year out. I visit the offices, they make assurances. Even here, they are making assurances. Initially, they said 13 million was given to RDA to do the work. If you read the report again, now they are talking about 22 million. So when will the government find the money to ensure that this road is done once and for all? Madam Speaker, those are the few words that I felt I should put on the table on behalf of people of Bangolulu, because no day passes without people complaining about this road. They complain about the road on a daily basis because it has been 8 years of no help whatsoever. So, Madam Speaker, as I conclude, it's just my appeal that this road may be taken into consideration as government mobilizes more resources to push into development projects. Madam Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me begin by thanking the mover of this very important motion, the Honorable Member of Parliament for FAIRA. Madam Speaker, this report appears to be a report of broken promises. And Madam Speaker, this committee is a very important committee, which I'm sure on its behalf I can make an appeal that, like it is in other jurisdictions, the committee is given more powers to mete out punitive measures on those that make assurances on the floor of the House without fulfilling them. Madam Speaker, a very good example is on page 26 of this report, where the Minister of Tourism made an assurance on the floor of the House that the executive would facilitate the establishment of a community game ranch in Mpika parliamentary constituency. That was in 2024. Up to today, Madam Speaker, the investor has been going and coming, going to the ministry, going to the village to meet the chief, and progress has not been made. And this is a very important investment that could help the people of Nabwalia Chiefdom to have resources, because this was going to be in conjunction with the community resource board. They will have resources to use to attend to various challenges which they are facing currently due to the cancellation of hunting concessions. Madam Speaker, another example is the Michael Chirufyasata Hospital. Only 2 occasions on the floor of the House, the executive made an assurance in 2023, Madam Speaker, through the acting Minister of Infrastructure at that time was Honorable Mulambo Haimbe, assuring the people of Mpika that in the
first quarter of 2024, the construction of Michael Chirufya-Sata Hospital under phase 2 would be completed. Madam Speaker, up to today, the contractor is not on site. The hospital is a skeleton kind of a hospital. Our people are moving 100 kilometers to go to Chinsari General Hospital. Yet, the same intention of Chinsari General Hospital was the same intention of Michael Chirufya-Sata Hospital to serve as a referral hospital for the people of Kanchibia, the people of Lavushimanda, and at large the people of Mpika. The same was done in 2024. 2025. This time around, through the acting Minister of Infrastructure, by then the Minister of Transport and Logistics, Honorable Frank Tayari. And according to him, the construction of the hospital would be done in the second quarter of 2026. Madam Speaker, as I stand here, supporting this report, the hospital is still unconstructed. Our people, even beds in that hospital are dilapidated. At some point, Madam Speaker, had to mobilize resources from well-wishers and bought beds and mattresses. Even those today, you won't find them, Madam Speaker. Patients are sleeping on the floor because the government has not actualized their assurance. Madam Speaker, the same applies to the Mpika Modern Bus Station. The Honorable Minister of Local Government is here. The bus station was supposed to be completed in 2022. Up to today, the Mpika Modern Bus Station is just a song. Now would complete. Madam Speaker, this committee should have more powers, because without the powers to make punitive measures on those that make assurances and nothing happens, we'll continue making these submissions and nothing happens even in the future. It will just be oral empty speeches, in and out we go. The committee has found a lot of unactualized assurances. And we don't even know when those assurances will be actualized. Kampamba Day Secondary School in Mpika Parliamentary Constituency. The project started in 2010, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you may wish to know that even today, the school is incomplete. From 2010, like the Minister of Youth has rightly indicated, 2010, Madam Speaker, up to today, the school is incomplete. Madam Speaker, when they talk about the issue of lack of resources, I tend not to agree, because in that same area in Mpika, we have God. We have everything. I give this example to drive a point that as a country, we are very rich. It's just a matter of harnessing those resources and put them into infrastructure development. We can't even mention the issue of Mpika Nabwaria Road, the issue of Mpika Kachibunga Road, and we can't even mention the issue of Mpika Township roads, which are dilapidated. And when you go there, you ask yourself, are we also part of Zambia, this same country that is said to be the second largest producer of copper? And nothing happens, Madam Speaker, in terms of attending to us. Madam Speaker, this report is a report that I support 100%. And the committee did its work very well. And I can only appeal to those that make these assurances to say, please, when you make these assurances, our people who are the end users of these projects that have to be done are very anxious to see the actualization of these projects. Here, I have mentioned the township roads, the Mpika Kachibunga Road, the Mpika Nawera Road, including the Mufubushi Kasenga roads in Mpika Parliamentary Constituency. The electrification of Mulolesha has also been captured, Madam Speaker. It hasn't been done. Madam Speaker, actualization of assurances, Madam Speaker, benefit our people, and it must be taken very seriously. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, I want to make an earnest appeal that government should speed up the process of completing projects for the benefit of our people. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kamfinsa.
Madam Speaker, once again, I am grateful for allowing me to make a few comments on this report, the report that highlights commitments that were made by government. Madam Speaker, the reason these members of parliament ask questions is for government to indicate whether these commitments will actually be actualized. And Madam Speaker, I quickly take the committee which has presented this report to page 49. Madam Speaker, on page 49 of your report, government made a commitment that institutions of higher learning will get new hostels. And Madam Speaker, this commitment was made because I had asked a question here that when will these hostels be completed? Government made a commitment, Madam Speaker, that the University of Zambia will get 4 new hostels with a capacity of 640. Government made a commitment that the Copperbelt University, my former university, will get 1,600 bed spaces, which is 10 hostels. Madam Speaker, government made a commitment that the Michael Chulufiasata University in Ndola will get 6 new hostels, 960 bed spaces. Madam Speaker, government made another commitment that Mulungushi University will get 6 new hostels within the shortest period of time. And there was an assurance that was made on the floor of this House. Madam Speaker, unfortunately, the pace of construction has been very slow. Today, if you go to the University of Zambia, Madam Speaker, this commitment was made in 2024. This is 2026. You go to UNZA, Madam Speaker, this commitment has not been actualized because the pace of construction has been slow. And this is why, Madam Speaker, my appeal, government, when you make a commitment, especially that there's a committee that Madam Speaker will put in place to review the assurances, it will be important to put realistic timeframes. Because, Madam Speaker, when you tell people that within 2 years the hostels will be done, the report, Madam Speaker, will show something else. And this is why, Madam Speaker, when I stood here 2 years ago, my appeal to the Minister of Education was that the money that we had put in the national budget was not enough to complete hostels at Mulungushi, to complete hostels at UNZA, and to complete the hostels at the Copperbelt University. This is why when we make these commitments, Madam Speaker, my appeal through you, Madam Vice President, is that when commitments are made, we put a realistic period, because at that stage in 2024, the commitment was that within 2 years, most of these hostels would be complete. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, reading this report, the report from Madam Speaker is showing that these hostels have not been completed. Madam Speaker, that is observation number 1 on page 49. I quickly take you, Madam Speaker, to page 89. On page 89, Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Mines began the countrywide geophysical survey to establish where the minerals are. Do a survey and then process the data and then be able to establish what is the quantity of minerals that we have. Madam Speaker, according to your report, the status report shows that only 26.7% was covered in terms of national coverage for the geophysical survey. Again, Madam Speaker, we need to be told, is it that we've not released enough funds for the exercise to be done faster? Because this is a very important exercise, Madam Speaker. We do the survey, we know where the minerals are, then we ask ourselves who is going to exploit the resource. And Madam Speaker, that brings me to my submission today. Once this geophysical survey is done, my challenge to government, Madam Speaker, through Madam Vice President, is that when we are done with the survey, we survey the entire country, we know where the minerals are. Madam Speaker, we need to design the right partnership that allows Zambians to participate in the minerals that we are going to discover. Because what is the use, Madam Speaker, of us spending so much money, this Parliament approving money in the national budget, only for these survey reports, Madam Speaker, to be given to only foreigners, when we can agree where we are seated today, Madam Speaker, that a partnership is designed, where Zambians need to play their role, where we can design how many Zambians are willing to put in money, Madam Speaker. Do we go to our pension fund? Do we go to NAPSA? Do we go and look for our own resources? So that when the skills are being identified, Madam Speaker, we don't leave Zambians. My submission, Madam Speaker, is that we are only at 26%. The day we get to 100%, Madam Speaker, let us look for Zambians that have got the resources. They may not own the mine 100%, but I know there are Zambians, Madam Speaker, that are ready to put in resources, that are ready to contribute. Even if today we said, everyone, can you contribute $1,000 to go into this investment? Madam Speaker, you'll be amazed how many Zambians will come forward to say we are ready to put in our contribution. Madam Speaker, page 89, that is my submission, that we should not survey only to give foreigners these survey reports. Madam Speaker, mineral data is expensive because once you have the data, you know where the minerals are. So I hope that, Madam Speaker, through the Vice President, I hope that once the surveys are done, Zambians will be given the opportunity. Page 102, Madam Speaker, the construction of Ndeke Village Clinic. Madam Speaker, in the last 4 years now, we are going to our 5th year, we are completing our tenure of office. Madam Speaker, on 4 occasions, this Member of Parliament has asked government to complete the construction of Ndeke Village Clinic. On 4 occasions, Madam Speaker, the answered records will show that this MP has consistently appealed to government to complete this health facility. Every year, Madam Speaker, there's an assurance. 2022, the record is showing that the first government assurance was made on 22nd of September 2022. Only last week, Madam Speaker, another assurance was made by the new Minister of Health. My appeal to government is that this health facility is supposed to reduce the congestion that you see at Kitwe Central Hospital. We upgrade the health facility, no one will be going to Kitwe Central Hospital. I hope that the recent government commitment, Madam Speaker, will eventually lead to this health facility being completed. The reason we raise these issues, Madam Speaker, it's not for the sake of the cameras to show that Christopher Kangombe has spoken about the health facility. It's because people have to access health care. So I hope, Minister of Health, that your commitment now that you'll give us an extra 1 million using part of our constituency development fund, if we can put these resources together, Madam Speaker, we can upgrade that health facility. With your permission, Madam Speaker, under 1 minute, the last comment on the...
The Honourable Member, we have so much work.
With your permission, Madam Speaker, 1 minute.
No time. I still have other members who have indicated, and honourable ministers, and time, and today is a short day.
1 minute, Madam Speaker. I'm seeking indulgence from the Speaker, not from you.
Wind up, honourable.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Much obliged. Page 109, Madam Speaker. Construction of Phase 2. Phase 2 of the Nkana Water Supply and Sanitation Project. Madam Speaker, in the last 5 years of my tenure as Member of Parliament, consistently I've asked the Ministry of Water, can we improve water supply to Ndeke Village, to Ndeke Changa Changa, to Mukuba na Twange? Madam Speaker, commitments have been made. I have toured the facility in the showgrounds, which is in my constituency. There's progress. The last commitment, Madam Speaker, was that month end of April, the works would have been completed. Minister of Water, take time to go and see the progress. We are far from completing the the project. I hope that the last bit of resources that project requires, Minister, could be released so that the project could be completed and our people can have access to water. Madam Speaker, I support the report and I hope that my submissions have been taken note of. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honourable Member for Shiwangando.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to make a few comments on this very important report from the committee, the Government Assurance Committee. Madam Speaker, I will assume some of the comments made by my colleague, the Honourable MP for Chama North, Honourable Mtacharo, regarding the Chama Matumbo Road, which was to be completed by now, following the assurances that were given by government, but yet the road remains incomplete. Along that road, Madam Speaker, is also Matumbo High School, Matumbo Boarding High School, which still remains incomplete despite the numerous assurances given by the executive. And therefore, it's important that when this report comes, the action taken report must be speaking different and depict the commitment of government, because it's a tendency, Madam Speaker, from our colleagues in the executive to make commitments to just keep us honorable members, from pressing them. Madam Speaker, on page 51, there was an assurance which was made by the Minister of Finance on behalf of the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. And this assurance was, as I quote, Madam Speaker, the construction of the second phase of yards is earmarked to commence in 2025 and will focus on 3 provinces, Central, Muchinga, and Southern. This is about the industrial yards which were to be constructed. I don't know about the other provinces, Madam Speaker, but I can, as I stand here, nothing is yet started in Muchinga province. And we would like to urge the minister responsible for infrastructure to follow up on this assurance. Madam Speaker, the other assurance is on page 114, where government made an assurance, Madam Speaker, on the 12th October of 2022, that they were going to procure a contract to complete a Paul Mushindo University. Madam Speaker, this is a university which was built in honor of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, whose birthday we were commemorating yesterday. At this place, Madam Speaker, that Paul Mushindo was a name given by the late former First Republican President Dr. Kaunda himself, of a man who translated the Bible from English to Bemba. It still remains nothing. This is 4 years down the line, Madam Speaker. This university remains incomplete, and there's no sign of anything being done at that university. And what is interesting, Madam Speaker, is these are our colleagues in the executive who will be taking the president there to go and officially commission a 1x3 classroom block, which he promised the people in Lubwa Mission as he was commemorating Dr. Kaunda's legacy at Lubwa. Now, you imagine they are taking the head of state to go and commission a 1x3 classroom block. And the university is standing just next, incomplete, when there was an assurance in 2022. So you must take things serious and make sure that the president doesn't suffer ridicule by the community there, because they would have appreciated more if that university was completed. Then a classroom block would have come as a bonus. Madam Speaker, the other assurance of interest is on page 111. Rehabilitation of the Great North Road. Madam Speaker, on the floor of this August House, 6th October 2021, an assurance was made, Madam Speaker, that Mpika Serenje Road, which is a T2, the contract awarded to Technical SPA in association with Arab Consulting Engineers, Moran Bokam, and Technical Consulting Zambia Limited, which was on 27th May of 2025. Madam Speaker, you have used this stretch, and we were worried for you, because this stretch now has become a death trap. The Serenje Mpika and Mpika Chinsali were the two phases that the government was supposed to immediately embark on, because we left that project from Nakonde to Isoka, Isoka to Chinsali, which was financed under Africa Development Bank. So that stretch had already started. So what we expected of our colleagues in the New Dawn government was to work on the stretch from Chinsali to Mpika, Mpika to Serenje, T2. Madam Speaker, if this assurance was made in 2021 of October, and the only thing we have seen is patching of potholes in certain stretches, how else can we rate the government with this assurance, apart from being a failed undertaking, a failed promise, which government should... Madam Speaker, that's a commercial road. Many people that are bringing these little vehicles, your citizens who undertake to import these autorex, this is the stretch they use, but many of them have lost those vehicles before they even land to their destinations. Why? Because of the road network. It's so bad, Madam Speaker. The goods that are hooded, including fuel, finished products, it's always a problem, Madam Speaker. You must have seen the carnage road, the road carnage on that stretch. When you are leaving, you must bow down and pray that you are going to arrive. So, Minister of Infrastructure has failed on this matter, and we would like him, I don't know, now that we have just got only 3 weeks before his tour of duty comes to an end, what is going to be done and what further assurances you would like to give. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, it's just to advise my colleagues in the executive to make sure that, you know, it's easy to make an undertaking on the floor and promise, but the records here go to these government assurances. And when we start querying, they even forget what they could have, what commitments they could have made. And when people start saying you have failed, you don't have to question, because the record is here, Madam Speaker. Just look at the bulk of the report of failed promises by the New Dawn government. This is the volume. Here. You can question, but the record is here. So, Madam Speaker,
your time is up, Honorable Member.
I feel pity.
Order,
Keep
order.
quiet. You know, this is disorderly behavior.
Order,
That's why you
Honorable
can't be in the
Members.
front bench like that.
Order.
Madam Speaker, I thank you.
We have a lot of work, so now we go to the Honorable Ministers to respond. We start with the Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to add my voice to this very important report on government assurances for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly. Madam Speaker, I also want to thank you for the opportunity to provide the House with an update on the installation of border markers highlighted in the report of the committee as follows. Madam Speaker, my update on the two items noted is as follows. One on Zambia and Angola. In October 2025, Zambia and Angola carried out a joint border verification exercise in Shangombe district in Zambia and the Rivonga district of Angola to assess reports that the Zambian villages had encroached into the Angolan territory. Following the exercise, the joint team recommended that both governments urgently undertake a border reaffirmation process by reactivating the joint technical group on border demarcation in order to prevent further misunderstandings. Further, Zambia is still waiting for a response from Angola on the submitted sensitization campaign strategy documents and has continued to allocate funds for the reconnaissance survey and sensitization campaigns under the international boundary budget line. Madam Speaker, regarding Zambia and the Democratic Republic of Congo, at the Joint Permanent Commission on Defense and Security held in Lubumbashi in January this year, 2026, it was agreed that the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, would host Zambia for a bilateral meeting in Puerto, while Zambia would reciprocate by hosting the DRC in Chienge in July this year, 2026. The purpose of these meetings is to review and assess the two submissions regarding the interpretation of the remaining 8-kilometer segment of Kipimbi Mountain in line with Article 1 of the 1989 treaty. The DRC has since invited Zambia to attend a meeting scheduled from 8th to 26 June 2026 in Puerto of DRC. In addition, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources has written to the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation to request for the 1894 Boundary Treaty to help in interpreting Article 1 of the 1989 Boundary Treaty. Further, in September and November 2025, Zambia and the DRC held a bilateral meeting and carried out a joint reconnaissance survey and boundary beacon densification survey exercises in the Kasumbalesa-Chilabombwe border area. The objective was to enhance the visibility of the Zambia-DRC boundary and prevent potential encroachments in the area. Madam Speaker, this is our position regarding the item under question that has been found in the report. Madam Speaker, before I conclude, I just wanted to make just one statement to my colleagues that have commented on other items regarding non-performance by the government. And just want to say that whilst there could have been some assurances made by government, it is also important for colleagues on your left to take note that as government, our major role is to ensure that, first of all, the country remains stable. Secondly, the citizens are safe. Thirdly, the citizens are alive regardless of what may have been said. This, Madam Speaker, is a matter that I want members to recall that this administration, 2021-2022, were faced with COVID. It had implications on the budget. 2023-2024, we had cholera. Again, it had serious implications on the budget. 2024-2025, we had a drought, which basically was one such drought unprecedented in the history of this country. Government had to take decisions to save the people of Zambia. And you will see that budgets, if you recall, Madam Speaker, had to be readjusted from all sector ministries, which affected some of the government assurances that we've made. Madam Speaker, I just wanted to remind our colleagues that even 2025-2026, we've had issues to do with the wars that are happening in the world around us, which affect our performance as a nation. And these, Madam Speaker, are issues that are affecting issues of transporting goods and services around the world, and in particular oil. These are serious international issues that affect this country. Zambia is not an island, and Zambians must know what is important is if one comes and says, you made this promise, instead of doing this, you diverted money to buying ministerial vehicles. And so I just wanted my colleagues on the left to sometimes really speak with honesty that this administration, under this able leadership, has done unprecedented developments, you know, which have helped both the right and the left and the people of Zambia, and have helped the people of Zambia so that we continue to live and still take development. A number of these colleagues, both on your left and right, Madam Speaker, will still come back to this House because of the work that this president and his government has done. So to start to come here and make it look like this government has done nothing is really being unfair and, you know, really not being insensitive to what this administration has done. Madam Speaker, I just thought I'd make those few comments, and I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, we have a lot of work. And when you were making when you were debating quietly, no interruptions. Now I see points of order from first the Honorable Member for Shuangandu, Honorable Member for Lunte. The first one who indicated was the Honorable Member for Shuangandu. We will take only one point of order. What's the point of order, Honorable Member for Shuangandu?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me this opportunity to raise this very important point of order. Madam Speaker, this is a house of procedure. And the point I'm raising is pursuant to Standing Order 71. Madam Speaker, we have got a report on the floor of this Augusta, and some of us took time to go straight to the report without making our own assumptions. Madam Speaker, was the Honorable Minister who has just finished a debate. Veteran, she was with us in PF, MMD, front bench, and very conversant with these procedures and this report. Was she in order, Madam Speaker, to insinuate that us are being unfair and creating things to make our government look incompetent or look like a non-performing? The report, Madam Speaker, is here. The volume of the report is here. Was she in order, Madam Speaker, to take our debate as being from nowhere when we have got a report on the floor? I think it was serious guidance, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister was in order. She was also reacting to the points of to the debate that was raised by the Honorable members. You will see when the chairman of the committee was speaking, he did acknowledge in his speech that a number of government assurances had been fulfilled. So it's not everything that has not been fulfilled, if we go by the report and the report of the committee. So, honorable members, let's get back to business. We have a lot of work, and today is a short day. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. I stand here representing the Minister of Infrastructure, Honorable Mirope. Madam Speaker, I wish to thank you for according me this opportunity to respond to the report of your committee on government assurances for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly. I wish to report that on the construction of Mwenda Secondary School, the government reprocured Wanjiang Investment Limited, the contractor who did the initial works, to complete the construction of Mwenda Boarding Secondary School in Chipiri district of Lopra province. The works on the site commenced on 16th May 2025 and are expected to be completed after 24 months, that is approximately May 2027. The total cost of completing the works is 120,912,239 kwacha 38 ngwe, inclusive of VAT so far. The contractor has been paid advance payment amounting to 30,228,059 kwacha 85 ngwe. The contractor is fully mobilized on site with current progress standing at 70% towards completion. Madam Speaker, may I report that the construction of Ruano Boarding Secondary School in Mkuch South Parliamentary Constituency expired in 2024 due to funding constraints. At the time of the expiry of the contract, the project was at 90% towards completion. The major remaining works to completion of the project are mainly external works. The process of procuring the works has commenced and is expected to be completed within the second quarter of 2026. Madam, the construction of Chamber District Administration offices in Wapra Province did not progress as earlier reported due to funding constraints, leading to expiry of the earlier contract. However, in 2024, the government reprocured the same contractor to complete the works at a total cost of 6,014,054 kwacha 8 ngwe, with a completion period of 120 days. So far, 3,798,689 kwacha 59 ngwe has been paid to the contractor, and the progress on site stands at 99%. The projects particularly completed and part of the structure have been partially been occupied by the district administration. The completed structure will be officially handed over by the end of the second quarter 2026. With regards to the construction of students' hostels at the University of Zambia, Copperbelt University and Mulongosho University, may I update the House that works have continued and are progressing well. The works are expected to be completed in the third quarter of 2026. The scope of the works includes the construction of 48 hostel blocks across the 3 universities, providing a total bed capacity of 7,680. Madam, I wish to update the House that the program for construction of industrial yards in selected provinces was being funded by African Development Bank under Phase 1, which ended in December 2025. The industrial yards for the 3 provinces of Central Province, Mochenga, and Southern Province were not included in Phase 1, but were earmarked to be constructed under Phase 2 of the African Development Bank funded projects. Implementation of Phase 2 is under discussion between the bank and the Ministry of Medium and Small Enterprises. So far, government has developed the concept note and the project implementation document that has since been submitted to the African Development Bank. In addition, the Ministry of Finance and National Planning have undertaken an appraisal and the due diligence of Phase 1 in preparation for Phase 2 in line with the Public Investment Management Guidelines under the National Planning and Budgeting Act of 2020. Once these processes are concluded, government anticipates commencing the construction of industrial yards in the 3 provinces in the 4th quarter of 2026 or 1st quarter of 2027. Madam Speaker.
As the time is 16:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break.
We'll resume at 17 hours, and on the floor of the House is Local Government and Rural Development Minister Honorable Gift Sialubalo adding his voice to a motion that has been moved by Fair Member of Parliament Mr. Tembo and seconded by Chifu MP, urging the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Government Assurances for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Friday, 24th April 2026. So after the break, we expect the Minister to continue with his debate.
And earlier on, when business commenced, Madam Speaker did make some announcements. Madam Speaker, did recognize in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Precast Tuition Center in Lusaka District, adventurers and leaders from Namwala East, Seventh-day Adventist Church in Namwala District, and members of the Tobacco Control Consortium of Zambia in Lusaka District. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcome the visitors to the National Assembly.
And just to mention that the House did consider 4 questions for oral answer understanding order number 80 and 2 grouped questions for oral answer understanding order number 83. And just about now, we'll take a break. We have details of what has been considered and yet to be considered on the floor of the House right after the break.
Serve goals, thrills, and high fives alongside your fries with DSTV for Business. And turn your pub, club, or restaurant into the ultimate entertainment hub with world-class live sport, breaking news, music, and so much more. Plus, with ExtraView, you can also show multiple live events at the same time. Our DSTV Play packages are tailored to meet your needs and budget. Contact us today to serve up the ultimate entertainment experience with DSTV for Business.
People's game, they will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come.
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect to DSTV Compact and GoTV Super Plus today and get the best football on us.
Just like soccer and Odegaard need to work together for the perfect play.
Rising to the occasion again.
Your subscription is also at its best when paired with DSTV Stream.
This is not a coincidence.
With DSTV Stream, you can watch live TV or catch-up box sets anywhere, anytime, on any smart device. And that's just the start of its amazing features.
Are you sure?
I think this is legit.
So whenever you want to enjoy DSTV, don't forget your free companion app, DSTV Stream.
Good morning. Mother Nature painted the sky for us this morning. She took some crimson reds and dusts them into oranges. She hides them behind the curtain, safe out of sight. Then she'll open them up to prepare for the night. She breathes and she knows. Trees, they stretch their arms, they dance, they rehearse, they
Zambia, a jewel in the center of Africa. Offering a wide diversity of fauna and flora. Zambia's national parks are waiting to welcome you. The Luangwa River is the lifeblood of the South Luangwa National Park. In the dry season, inland pools and lagoons dry